Welcome to Tech Visas. In the series of REST Web Services videos, this is the video in which I will talk about method idempotence. This is a very important concept because it will give us clarity like which method can be repeated by a client and which cannot be repeated. Okay, but before that, as I understood from my experience, normally developers are confused between put and post. So when to use put and when to use post, and if we are doing the multiple hits for these methods, what are repercussions happening at the server side, right? So this question we will answer later once we have concepts clarity about this topic. We get the answer automatically, right? So these are the four methods which we discussed, like get, put, post, delete. Now, the bigger question is that whenever you are exposing any API to client, and if client is accidentally or maybe intensely, if they repeat the operations, what happens at the server side, how your app is going to respond. So, which operations we can repeat safely and which operations we cannot repeat safely, right? So let's take an example of like programming, right? Whenever we do any programming, maybe in Java, C++, or C, we always assign a variable like some value. Like suppose here, you can see we have an integer I variable and we have assigned a value as 20. So we are writing a 20 value in the I variable, right? But if in the next line, if I repeat the same, what happens? Maybe internally it is again copying and replacing the value which I already had, but there is no effect as such on the value of I. So it we can say that we can repeat these operations as many as times we can safely. So it will not going to change or the modify the value which I is holding in this particular case. So this is the property, right? Whenever these REST methods which can be repeated safely, even if the client is hitting your REST URL multiple times, it is not going to do any impact at the server side. So those methods are called the idempotent methods. Now we will start looking each method one by one. Which method is having the this property of idempotence and which is not having this property of idempotence. Let us start with a get method. So why we use get? Whenever we want to retrieve any resource from the server side, we always use get. In our that application which we had taken as example, so suppose if we want to get a message, we are going to send a request to client. Suppose we want to get or retrieve the message ID 5, we are going to send request and then we get response back from the server. But now if your client or you want to repeat this operation, suppose maybe 5 times, so you'll get the message 5 times, same response, right? There is no change happening at server side. So there is no impact on, there is no resource modification happening. So whenever there is no change happening for the repeated operations, we can say that method is basically the idempotent method. So we can safely say that get is an idempotent method, right? So get we can safely repeat as many as times as we need. Now let us understand about put. So what put does? It generally updates a message, right? So whatever message or resource already available on the web on the backend server or database, if we want to update some value, like in our case, suppose we want to update a message which is already sitting in the application database, what we will do? We will send a message request and message body, whatever the request body, whatever you want to update it, right? And it will update in the backend. But now, if you want to send that request again and again and again, so it is not going to impact, because what are you doing? You are basically changing that column multiple times with same value. Although it is replacing the values, but eventually the resource remains same. So we can safely assume, or we can say that put is also a method which is kind of idempotent, right? So I mean, even if you're sending multiple requests to update, there is no impact at the resource level. So the resource values or data remain same. So we can say that put is a method which is idempotent, and we can repeat it safely, right? Now let us understand about delete method. So delete also, suppose we want to delete some message in our application. So we are going to send the message request URI and the operation name, and then your backend REST API will delete that message. But if you want to repeat that second time or third time, fourth time, there is no change because resource is long gone. Even if you are trying to hit and delete the resource, it's not there. So there is no impact as such happening in the app server side. So that's why we can clearly understand that it is also a method which we can safely repeat, and it is basically a method which is we can say that is an important method, right? So now till now we have seen that get, put, and delete, all three operations we can safely repeat, and that's why these three methods are called the idempotent methods. Now let us understand the post method. Now, if you want, why we use post method, right? Post we always use generally to create a new resource and the backend of web server, app server, right? So suppose you want to create a new message into your application, then you are going to make a request to the collections of that particular URI, because whenever you create a method, you don't have the particular ID, right, beforehand. Whenever you create that hit, right, then only it will create some ID for you to be able to identify that particular message, right? So now if you want to create a new message, you are going to make a post request to the collection URI of messages to the app server, and then app server is going to execute your request and give you uh, basically give you a message ID. Okay. So now if you want to submit the same form again and again, and suppose you have submit again, what happens that in that case, you are going to create one more message. Like if you see here in the first hit, we got the ID as 123456, and if the IDs are like created sequentially, you will ID as now 123457. So both these resources are different resources, not same resource. So whenever you are repeating the post method, you are ending up creating a new resource at the backend. So it is not desirable, right? Because suppose you have a same message, why do you want to create a same message multiple times in the backend database? So we can say that post is a non-idempotent method. So uh, get, delete, and put are the methods which are idempotent, but post is non-idempotent method. So you cannot repeat post like that. So we have to have some ways whenever client want to post a multiple requests for same data, we have to do some checks and balances at the app side and also at the client side. So many times you must have seen that whenever suppose on the UI you have some form, right? And you are filling that form and submitting it. But next time, if you want to resubmit the same form, it gives you a warning that are you sure that you want to submit same data, right? So whenever you are doing a refresh for any form submission or like doing any multiple post request, there would be some warning we have to add so that clients are aware and they should not do any multiple post requests accidentally, right? So yeah, so these are the like some important these are like some important concept to understand. So now let's go back to our original question, like put versus post. So now I think it's very clear that uh, put is used to update a resource and post is used to create a new resource. But the major difference between them is that put can be repeated because it is idempotent method, but we cannot repeat post because it is a non-idempotent method, right? So that's it for this video. If there are any questions or any queries, so I will take up in your comments. And so please leave comments or questions and please subscribe as well. And please share my videos among your uh, techie community so that they also benefit and I also get like more subscribers. Yeah, thank you.